What's up, guys? Powerbang here, and it is time for another strategy guide. This time it's going to be focused on the PentaLaLoon strategy. We talked a little bit in one of my previous videos about the Lava Loon strategy in general. We focused on multiple different types, such as the GoLaLoon, Cold-Blooded LaLoon, Shatter LaLoon. We've got the different styles, such as the Swarms, Rotationals, PentaLaLoon. All these different, methods of using Lava Hounds and balloons in conjunction to 3-star difficult Town Hall 9 bases. So this episode is going to be focused specifically on PentaLaLoon attacks. That's 5 Lava Hounds and roughly 20 balloons, and then your heroes. So let's go ahead and take a look at a few different attacks, and we'll show you what to look for and how to deploy, and more or less JerryLZ is going to show you his methods to his madness on how to 3-star bases. So as we're looking for bases to hit with PentaLaLoon, the first thing that we're looking for are the air defenses and the spacing between them. So if you look at this base, the air defenses are, first of all, they're even, which means if you were to hit, say, from the top of this base, these air defenses are on an even plane. This makes it very easy to gauge, where your hounds, as they come into the base, where they're going to stop. And then if you look at the bottom, those are also even. So everything's going to be very even, very balanced. So symmetry is something that you're looking for as you head into a base. You notice that there's the same number of buildings on each side of the base here, and it's the same way throughout. You'll notice, on a lot of these, there's, the quad Teslas in the core. Symmetry is great because it's very, very predictable pathing for your balloons, and it gives you a great idea on how to target. One thing that you want to look for is that the air defenses, when you click on them to check, I can't do it because this isn't a scout, it's an actual replay, but the radiuses will look something like this. And something that you're looking for is that the radius where this stops does not cover this other air defense. For example, if it were like this, that means that the back air defenses here, as you were to approach, an air defense from this side, the back air defenses could also fire on the front air defenses where your hounds are parked, and that's going to chew through your Lava Hounds much, much quicker than if you just had them parked and this back set was out of range. That will allow you to systematically destroy the air defenses, move through the base, and your balloons are untouched the whole time. So let's go through the steps of a PentaLaLoon raid. First of all, we need to identify where the clan castle is and determine how we're going to lure it. Luring is an important step in a Penta raid. I've seen a lot of folks ignore the lure completely and basically just spam their stuff and hope for the best. So the first thing is, where is the clan castle? Obviously here it's centralized in the middle, and we're going to use 3 of our 20 balloons to get the lure. Find a place that's appropriate to do that. I believe we send in here to the cannon. All you're trying to do is empty that clan castle of troops that could potentially damage your balloons during this raid. Once that's done, you're going to use your heroes to dispose of the kill squad. The first thing that will happen is your queen will go down. We'll put her over on the left-hand side here. She is going to anchor on this army camp and start shooting it. What will happen is you'll see the enemy clan castle troops will basically run across the base, and they'll start to approach her. And usually there's going to be, some archers first. What you want to be careful of is that you don't let any wizards or balloons or anything like that get off a shot on your archer queen. She can take a little bit of damage first from those archers and start cleaning up some of those troops to decrease the number of targets. And then what you're going to want to do is use her Royal Cloak ability and then drop the Barb King to basically come in and rescue her. He switches off the aggro that's coming in from the incoming clan castle troops. He's going to take the fire for the queen and then use his ability to take out all of the clan castle troops. He's going to spawn a bunch of barbarians. The queen has spawned a bunch of archers, so you're basically using your royals to take out the clan castle troops. Once that's done, you're free to commence the raid. Now, you might be wondering, what about the archer queen? Well, the great thing about this is we don't have to worry about killing the archer queen. As your Lava Hounds pop, they generate lava pups. Now, those lava pups, if they're under a rage spell, they are very, very powerful. So if we send in 3, hounds to one air defense and 2 to another, the first hound and the second hound will always basically pop on this first air defense because that's where they have the most incoming damage. Those pups, we want to basically get a rage going on both sides here and make sure that those pups are standing in rage. They will take out the queen. Okay, so now we know the steps leading up to the raid. Now what about when the raid actually starts? Now where do we target, which side do we come from, etc. You'll notice on this base the air defenses are narrower on the bottom. They do cover each other, but that doesn't necessarily matter because you're sending in hounds to both of them. Now if we were to send lava hounds into the bottom of this base, when one air defense goes down, they rarely go down at the same time. When one goes down, it's all too easy for your lava hounds then to switch sides. So say the left side went down first, any remaining living lava hounds could then switch to the right side, then say the right side goes down, and all of your lava hounds then proceed up to this air defense up here, leaving this one unchecked with no shielding, and all of the balloons that you've then sent from this side of the base are then destroyed. So in my opinion, it's better to come from the wider side of the base so that when these go down a little bit early, maybe the right one, say this one goes down first and your hounds start to move this way, the left one then can go down, and because the hounds will then redirect, this bottom one here is still the closest, and they have a better shot of staying on course and basically shielding the bulk of the base. So come from the side that has the wider set air defenses on a symmetrical base. Then you'll want to send in all 5 hounds at the beginning. Now, how many to which side and which angles, etc. You want to cover as many angles as possible because you want to soak up traps so that your balloons don't eat those traps on the way in. So 2 lava hounds will go to one air defense and 3 will go to another. Now, how do you decide which air defense gets 3 hounds? That's pretty easy. Look for the queen. Whatever side she is on, you will send 3 hounds to that side. The reason being is she is the highest outputting damage defense structure in the base, and a lava hound is basically going to be committed just to tanking her. So as that happens, that's also going to generate more pups on that side of the base, which is more potential to take that queen out and get her killed. So now that we know where the lava hounds are going to be deployed, then we have to determine, okay, what spells, what location, etc. 4 rage spells is what you're going to take with this particular attack strategy. Now the rages will be placed so that your balloons get the benefit from them, and you're going to try to take out these air defenses as quickly as possible. You want to get in, take those out, and then you also want to keep the core raged as much as possible, especially over the queen, so that the pups get the benefit of that rage spell, take her out, and then you want the balloons as quickly as possible. Once they get done taking out these air defenses, you want them to move through the core and down to these next air defenses and take them out as soon as possible before the hounds break. If you can do that, the 3 stars are going to be in the bag. So those are the key components of a PentaLaLoon raid. Let's go ahead and watch a few, and then we can break them down as they kind of go on. So on this base, actually one last thing that I should mention is you need to kind of analyze the location of the air defense and how deep it is in the base. The reason you want to do this is, say we've decided we want to come from the top. How far away is the point defense that you're trying to target? How far away from the air defenses are they? Are you going to need to start your hounds first or your balloons first? Now in this case, we can drop a few balloons up here that will target this archer tower and start approaching the base before these hounds are deployed on the air defenses. The reason we do this is because the travel time of balloons is so much slower than lava hounds that they need a little bit of head start to ensure that the timing is good and that these buildings go down. Now your goal is to target balloons to each of these defensive structures. So after the lava hounds come in, we'll do the lava hounds in red. So say we'll do something like this where we send 3 hounds in to the queen side, 2 hounds in to the opposite side. Now that all of those hounds are in, then we want to have our balloons. We'll send 2 basically to each defensive structure. Now 2 balloons will take out any defensive structure with the exception of an expo, but by the time you get to most expos, because they're typically stuck away in the core somewhere, your balloons have grouped up and you don't have to worry about necessarily targeting them. So 2 balloons to each of these structures, and they will take them out basically in a wave. The goal is to, in unison, take out this entire ring of defenses and then have your balloons continue to move in unison through the base and take out all of this base layer by layer. And what you don't want is to send in one side early. For example, if you sent in the right side of the base, if you sent in these loons first and then destroyed these buildings, well, if you waited on the one side, you might have things starting to rotate if certain buildings didn't go down in time. And when things start switching sides, that's when your attacks go a little bit haywire and things aren't good. So check the distance of the air defenses from the outer walls. And since this one is pretty narrow, we can actually start our hounds first on this base. With the exception of this archer tower, it would be smart because of this army camp. He has to deploy his loons on this pretty far away, so he's going to start these first, then go with his hounds. So let's check out how this happens for Jerry. First thing that happens is he's going to target the archer tower at the bottom of the base. Now, another thing I should mention is when you're doing your lure, if you can target air targeting defense buildings such as archer towers, wizard towers, Teslas, that's what you want to do with your balloons. The reason why is that takes that defensive structure out of the game for the end of your raid. If you know you're attacking from the top of the base and you have the opportunity to lure either on this cannon or on this archer tower, the choice is easy. You take out the archer tower. That way, when your balloons pass through the base later in the raid, you've got a cannon sitting here at the end rather than an archer tower, and that's just one less source of incoming damage that you have to deal with. So when given the choice, take out an air defending structure rather than a ground. All right, we'll keep it going here. So he gets his lure done, takes out the tower in the process. And then, after his loon goes down, you'll notice his archer queen, he actually anchors to the bottom on this, and he gets started on the troops here, drops his Barb King, rages up both of them, and notice he raged his queen before he takes any shots from the wizard. So that's under control. Here comes the hounds from the top, the 2 balloons in the center. And notice the balloons, they're targeted to each structure. The rage spells go down. The 3rd hound goes in on the right side. And make sure that we tank the queen. Air defenses are down and the hounds continue to travel to the bottom of the base. Look at the rage spell placement on the right side, how it's up a little bit further to make sure when this hound pops, the pups are in that rage and take out the queen. So some balloons come in targeted on the back side to those side towers to make sure that the bulk of the center balloons don't go astray. Everything's wiped out. There's only 1 archer tower left remaining. Still has a hound to tank it. Several balloons up. Pups all over the base. The cleanup power in this attack is tremendous. A lot of people wonder, well, why didn't you take any minions? Well, you don't need them. When you have 5, level 2 or higher hounds, you're looking at 50 minions essentially to help clean up this base. So excellent cleanup power. You want your hounds to pop. So sometimes that on a weaker base, you definitely want to send your hounds in first, even if the travel distance is far for the balloons, if the defenses aren't high enough level to kill your hounds in a timely fashion. So it's a fine kind of art that you'll get used to as you get better with this attack, knowing what the timing is as far as the balloons to hounds. But let's go ahead and take a look at another attack. Now this time, if the clan castle is lurable from the side. Now what I mean by that is they have an offset clan castle. This time, the bottom right and the bottom left side of this base, what he's going to do is just drop a few giants here And that giant, this clan castle radius is something like this. And they'll be able to walk into range here and get that lure done. Now, what this does is it's basically a cheaper way. With 2 giants only, you can easily get out a full 30-slot clan castle, no problem. So 2 giants will go down. It's a cheaper way to do it. That gives you 1 extra balloon for your raid. And then after that, the same thing will happen. You're going to use your heroes. First, your queen will drop to anchor to something out of range of the defense. And you're trying to buy time as long as possible for that clan castle to get over to the queen, and then you're going to maybe take out a couple troops, and then before it gets shot with any wizards, you want to use the Royal Cloak ability, disappear, and then drop your Barb King to help out. So let's go ahead and watch that. First, let's analyze this base a little bit, since this is a little bit different from the last attack. Again, very symmetrical base. When you look at this base, the first thing that you'll notice is the defenses. I mean, draw a line just like that. You'll notice cannon, whiz, you know, air defense, mortar, expo, mortar, etc. So you know the pathing is going to be just spot on for the balloons. All you have to do is target, right? So the first thing we want to figure out is which side to hit from here, because you know, obviously we can hit from the bottom, we can hit from the top, we can hit from the sides. Now, if we hit from the sides, let's look at the air defenses. So say we come from this, let's look at the other side. Let's come from this side of the base, right? And first we're going to send 3 hounds to the queen side. 1 to tank her, the other 2 to do the defenses. 2 to the opposite side. We'll go to this air defense. Now, notice that any hounds that are parked at this air defense are also in range of this air defense. So only 2 hounds are getting shot by 2 air defenses at the same time. That's bad. They're going to go down in a hurry. See, the other side, this is not in range of this air defense back here. So your hounds are going to be out of range, and then the attack's going to be unbalanced. And as the balloons, you know, path in, the bottom side of this base here is going to shoot them down. So from the side is not the way to go about it. From the bottom, you're going to have 3 go to the queen side, 2 go to the other side, and then you can send your balloons in. But from the bottom, the problem that you run into is, remember, air defenses almost never go down at the same time, and when one goes down, say it is this left one goes down first, then the hounds, these 3 hounds that are supposed to be tanking the queen and the defenses on the left side of the base, all of those go to the right, and because it's too close, the center line is only, you know, right here. All they have to do is get across, you know, basically 2 tiles over to the right, and once this right air defense goes down, all of those hounds then go to the top right air defense. Rather than do it like that, let's go from the top. Now, from the top, the defenses are wider, so there's more distance from, you know, one air defense to the next. We will send 3 hounds to the queen side, 1 to tanker, 2 for the defenses, and then 2 to the opposite side. When this happens, the air defenses, if they go down separately, there's much more room to get to that halfway point before those hounds switch sides. So we'll come from the top, and now what do we notice about this base that was maybe different from the last one? That is, if we look at this base, look at how much room there is between the air defense positions and the outer edges of the base. Now, that is a long freaking way, so you're going to have to deploy your balloons first to have a chance of getting into this base. So you'll see the balloons start to come in to the different, you know, defense buildings. And again, when you do a penta attack, your finger should never drag the screen. You should never be spamming anything. You should be tapping. 2 loons per defense building, and with your hound deployments, the same thing. You know, use a 2-finger drop, and then do, you know, 1, 2 on both sides, and then, you know, the third one can send into the queen side. So because the distance here from the air defense to the outside border is so far, you're going to drop your balloons first, then send your hounds, and you want to have your hounds pass the balloons roughly at the outer edge of the base before the air defenses start shooting your balloons down. So that's how it's going to go down for this raid. Let's go ahead and give it a watch and see if everything else is consistent. So here come the giants. He's going to walk into range of this clan castle here. Everything comes out. A few wizards, some archers, and a loon here. The only thing that he's really worried about here is the wizards. The archer queen is going to anchor on the right side of this base, and now she's got 4 or so archers to pick off. She goes ahead and does that. The wizards are focused on her right before they get to her. I mean, she delays them as long as possible. Then she uses her cloak. The king takes them out, no problem. So in come the balloons. Look at the spread on those. I mean, they're traveling forever. But then the hounds come in. And as the balloons work in from the top, he's going to drop the rages to get those quickly into the air defenses while everything else is tied up shooting lava hounds. Targeted balloons come in to the defense buildings as the lava hounds work down to the bottom. You'll notice that they stayed on their own sides, so both sides are tanked here. They do blow up into pups, but the balloons are already, inside of a rage heading towards the air defense, and there's nothing the air defense can do. The last lava pup here, or the last lava hound, has just a little bit of life left, and now we're hoping that that busts by that last Tesla that's remaining, and it locks on here, and it's going to give him a little gift. That blows up, which gives him that much more cleanup power. The last Tesla's taken out. He's got a million pups all over the base. We'll go ahead and fast forward this and watch the cleanup. Now, this is a very quick attack, so if you do have hounds that are unbroken, you're typically going to be okay because you can take out a base in a minute and a half, no problem, with a PentaLaLoon attack. So let's go ahead and watch one more attack. We're going to go ahead and switch wars at this point. And we're going to watch another one of Jerry's attacks. This time, it's going to be number 12. Now, notice again the air defense spacing. Now, as we've talked about in previous attacks, we want to hit the wide side, right? Up here is obviously the widest side. That's going to give your hounds very little opportunity to switch sides from one air defense to another. And then they'll both, instead of switching sides, they'll path at the same time to the bottom air defenses to tank them. Now, there's going to be a little bit more of a gap here. Now, if you look at the top of the base, there is a little bit of a gap between the air defenses and the side of the base, but at the same time, this one's kind of a judgment call. You're not going to want to send in balloons first to these buildings. Probably you're going to want to go with hounds. But you could get some balloons started on this top building, or if you deployed farther away on these other buildings up top and then surpassed it with the hounds, that would work. But it's really going to be your choice. You're going to do the lure. He's got 20 balloons here, so he's going to use 3 of those balloons to get the lure. And as soon as that happens, he's going to anchor with his archer queen, remember, and then she's going to basically delay as long as possible. And then as soon as those wizards are about to fire, she'll use her cloak and then let the king take care of business. So the barbs and the archers that those spawn, they're very easily able to dispatch of any clan castle. And then as the lava hounds come in, you want to send 3 lava hounds, remember. 3 of those lava hounds are going to go to the queen's side. So, take different angles to try to soak up as many seeking air mines as possible as you move into the base, get those traps destroyed. 2 hounds go into the other air defense, and then the balloons. This is super important. When you guys send in your balloons, do not spam them. Do not drag your finger on the screen. You're going to target them. Tap twice for each defense building. So 2 loons per defense building, and you're going to basically collapse them and make them collapse on the core. Now the rage spells go down to lead the balloons to the air defenses and into the core. You want as much of the core raged as possible, but you also can't sink your rage so deep that your balloons never get to them and they end up dying. So after that's done, you're going to rage your balloons to get to those bottom air defenses, and so you're going to have as much of this core raged as possible, and the balloons you want to get from air defense to air defense as soon as possible. Alright, so let's go ahead and give this one a watch. First thing that's going to happen is some balloons come in here to destroy, remember, take out the archer tower rather than the cannon. That's going to get you less incoming damage on the back end of your raid. So the Archer Queen is going to anchor on the buildings over here, and the... Alright, sorry for the interruption there. The Queen and the King are taking care of the Clan Castle troops, and then you'll see the 3 hounds come in from the top right to the air defense there, 2 to the other side. Balloons are all targeted. I mean, look at the spread on the balloons. Each of those targeted to a defensive structure, and those are going to move to the air defenses. They just collapse on that base, and then the second set of rages come down to get those to the bottom air defenses. Now the pups at the top, notice they're standing in rages, shooting the Queen. They take her out with no problem, and then they're on to the cleanup. So the last set of balloons, they come down, take out those final 2 air defenses. The last couple wizard towers go down, and he's got a huge pack of balloons. It looks like probably 9 or 10 balloons left, going for 1 archer tower, and that's just not gonna, obviously have enough to take him down. So that's it, guys. PentaLaLoon is an absolutely overpowered strategy if you copy this guide in this video. Lure the clan castle, use your heroes to kill them, send in 3 hounds to the Queen side, use your rages appropriately to get them to the air defenses, and then, target the balloons. Don't ever drag your finger on the screen, tap the screen, 2 taps per defense building, and then, work on the timing. The first few attacks may not go as easily as you saw in this video, but it comes with timing, it comes with practice, and as you continue to get better, you're going to be like, holy crap, why didn't I start doing this attack sooner? It's going to get to the point to where you think it feels cheap. That's it for this episode of Strategy Guide. Hopefully you've liked the PentaLaLoon. I hope to hear some feedback from you guys on how your attacks are going with this strategy, and if any of you guys are liking it. So it's also a very good strategy to use if you guys are upgrading a hero. There are things that you can do to supplement your heroes being out. You could drop a couple balloons and maybe use some wizards or a few archers to anchor, and then use your king to help clean up that clan castle as best as possible. There's a number of different things that can happen. It's up to you to kind of be creative, but follow this guide, follow the steps. Love to hear how you guys are doing with Penta. It's a strat that our guys are really loving, and it's helped us climb to be a very successful clan that's getting 92+% damage done in our raids, and we're 3-starring more than 80% of the bases from top to bottom. So for now, this is Powerbang signing out. Tune in next time. I'll have another strategy guide for you on a different strat. Take care.